Mickey.
Luke, and Eli.
As always, it's brought to you by Comic Watch.
Comic Watch.
So, this week's movie is Terminator: Dark Fate. Were you not overly excited about this movie?
I was.
All right. There will be so many spoilers, so turn back now because there's lots to talk about.
And most movie videos and things have spoilers in it, so.
So you're saying they should already know, but yeah, we're still gonna tell them just in case. Just in case we got an internet newbie over here, right?
Hold up.
Yep.
Now that we've done the spoiler alert, can I just go out and say something real quick? John Connery dies within the first 20 minutes.
What'd you call him?
John Connor.
John Connery?
Whatever.
That's no spoiler because they don't even know who John Connery is. It's John Connor.
What?
All right. So, a lot's changed in this movie.
Yes.
Right?
So they have defeated Skynet, but something else comes in.
Right. Exactly. But, first of all, Arnold, the biggest change, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is his franchise. He's not in this movie until about halfway through. This movie is Linda Hamilton's movie, not Arnold's, wouldn't you say? Now it's her franchise too, because she was in part 1 and 2, right?
Yeah. And the bad one where John Connor's turned evil.
Well, her character was in that one, but not the actress.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Oh, cards mixed up. All right. This time around, they're protecting somebody new, Danny. They're not protecting John Connor. They're protecting Danny, right?
John Connor's dead.
Because John Connor's dead.
Jinx.
Right. All right. What else has changed?
It's mostly girls in the movie.
It is mostly girls in the movie. This is a girl power movie through and through. That is for certain.
Girl power.
And I do have a comment about that in a minute, but
John Connor dies.
So John Connor dies. Well, first of all, let's talk about how cool that scene was. It is Edward from the time, like from Terminator 2. Like the effects are amazing. It's not 36-year-old Edward or however old he is now. It was him just like this, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is, I don't know, probably like a 35-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger instead of a 65-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger, walks up and shoots him.
Well, yeah, he was in that part, but then he looked
briefly,
He looked a lot bulkier than.
He looked like old school Arnold instead of new school Arnold.
I know, but he looked a lot bulkier than he used to for some reason.
Negative.
You
just haven't seen some of his old pictures.
He just looks different than usual.
We watched parts of his bodybuilding movie until he started talking like a weird potty mouth and we had to turn it off, right? Yeah? Alright, so normally John Connor is the future savior of humanity, right?
Yeah. And so they sat and they killed him. So yeah, they did save Skynet. That was really They did destroy Skynet, but another threat came in called the
Legion.
Legion, yeah.
So John Connor's gone, and while that was unexpected and I think is not the coolest move of the franchise.
Well, you did say this wasn't doing well, right?
Well, yeah, it is. This movie's bombing.
I think it's doing better.
Yeah, we need John Connor. And that is something I'm going to say. That is my hypothesis. We'll talk about that in a minute.
They're doing better than that one where John Connor went evil.
Yeah, true.
Well,
so anyway, as you were saying, Eli, it's no good that John's gone, but at the same time, it is kind of cool that they let his and his mom's victory at the end of Terminator 2 stand because Skynet's gone. There is no more Skynet. But another threat comes in called Legion that does basically essentially the exact same thing that Skynet did, creates Terminators, sends them back in time to kill people and to continue taking over the world.
So
they did win, but
part
they
three
didn't.
and 4 and 5 or whatever they were never even happened. They're saying.
I liked
Yeah, part.
I liked 4.
So this is kind of like how that's part 3. Part 4 is in the future. Part 4 was decent, but I don't think y'all have even seen part 4.
No, we haven't.
But this does kind of like the Halloween movies did last year. It reboots the series mostly, not entirely, mostly. So according to the filmmakers, this is part 3. So we're forgetting part 3, we're forgetting part 4, we're forgetting part 5, and part 6 is 3.
Part 3 was probably my favorite.
Part 3 is your favorite
Well,
of the series?
no. It just got a little repetitive, and they kept running.
Oh,
and running,
yeah.
And then
We'll
they
talk about
failed.
that repetitiveness
They
in a
failed,
minute.
They failed, and the whole world was.
Apparently that is your nuclear bomb explosion.
Because
All right.
you can't stop Judgment Day.
You can't stop Judgment Day.
That's what we learned. But now in part 6, part 3, we say Judgment Day can be stopped.
Yeah, until if it had done well, there'd be a part 7, part 4. But I don't think that's gonna happen now. But anyway, so in my opinion, this led to kind of a unnecessarily heavy-handed girl power moment. Because the whole movie's girl power, so they didn't need to bash John, but they did. So there's a scene where Linda Hamilton is talking to Danny, saying that the only reason the Terminators are chasing her is because she's the future mother of the only man, angrily, that can save the world. Not ever even assuming that it was Danny. It is Danny. So that just seemed unnecessary and maybe a little rude. But keep in mind that the filmmakers are both guys. So those words put into Linda Hamilton's mouth were written by guys.
He said it's better than Brie Larson.
Well, we're not talking about her. Anyway. Let's talk about the villain of this movie, Gabriel Luna.
Well, basically, he is that Terminator, but
That was a cool new trick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He could split into 2, and then they could both fight. The exoskeleton or the endoskeleton, whatever, whichever that is.
Yeah. Like he could
And
fight
he
with.
could still, he was like Liquid Man then.
yeah,
they could
but
fight.
then they could kill him when he was not on the skeleton, and all that was left was the skeleton, and all they had to do was kill him.
Like the skeleton was easy to. So basically, the skeleton was just like Arnold's robot. Just he was metal and couldn't do anything
Right.
else. But he's
like the Liquid Terminator in part 2.
But not like he doesn't have a.
But he has a skeleton, unlike.
So he's like Arnold plus the Liquid Terminator together, or separate if need be.
Combined.
The only thing he did a good job. The only thing I didn't like about him was he's not big. Like he's not as menacing as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Is he? No, he's
Well,
kind of just like a regular sized guy.
it's not like you're.
But
always,
that allowed him to camouflage and blend in better than Arnold did.
Correct.
Yeah, Arnold walking around saying, "I'll be back." It's not very tricky on which one the bad guy is. Gabriel Luna, it was, could be tricky. And then finally Arnold comes in about halfway through. And there was a super secret who's been sending these messages to Linda Hamilton and what were the coordinates that was given to the girl who had cyborg parts to her to come back and save Danny. All the big mystery, all the big secret was it got you to Arnold. So you see it coming a mile away. It's no surprise, right?
It was like, but the time loop of Danny helping her and then her helping Danny and then.
Right. Because in the future, Danny saves the girl who comes back to save her. Right?
Yeah.
There was a time loop in the original, too, because the man who came back to save Kyle Reese, came back to save Sarah,
What's her son?
was not her son. It was the father of her son.
Oh.
Kyle Reese is not John Connor. Kyle Reese is the guy who came back to save Sarah and became John's dad.
We need to watch this.
But now, this is an Arnold that hadn't been in the movies before. This is the guy who killed John. This isn't, because the one into part 1, into part 2 melted. So this is not one that came back in time for this purpose. He came back to kill John Connor, and he did. And then he lives on Earth and
learns how
learns
to
to try to be normal.
learns how to.
Oh, and they rub it. They rub it in. They really rub it
That
in.
he killed John.
He comes in. John's drinking a soda. He turns around, sees him. He shoots him in like the shoulder, and then he's not dead. He just falls down. And then his mom comes and jumps, and he pushes her away, and then he walks over and.
So of course, she hates him for most of the movie, right?
And he learned how to feel emotions.
Emotions.
Well, he didn't sound like it.
He also adds some humor to the movie, right? Because it'd been way too serious till about the time he showed up. What hadn't it?
She also says I have a sense of humor.
Sarah?
No, he said his wife was.
Oh, he says his wife loves him because of his sense of humor. Okay. I got you.
Oh yeah, he has a family.
All right, this is a poster for part 4. Now, you might not be able to recognize him, but that's Christian Bale. He's one of the ones that played Batman. This is Sam Worthington from Avatar, which you've not seen yet. This was set in the future, and I think this is a movie that everybody wanted ever since part 1 showed a glimpse of the future where Terminators are walking through and skeletons are covering the ground, and the Terminator version of tanks are rolling over and crushing the skulls as they roll over. It looked amazing. This was supposed to be, I thought as a fan, the movie all about that. But instead, John Connor kind of takes a backseat to this half Terminator, half man, or he wasn't really even a half man. He was mostly Terminator and just thought he was a man. Takes more of the movie than John Connor. And even then, John Connor's not even in charge of the military. He's like barked orders at, there's these people in charge of him that are mean to him and bark orders at him and act like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Isn't he supposed to be
He's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be the savior of the future.
There's a scene where he's literally in part 3, it shows him
Right.
on
And he's going to
scrap
get there
metal and stuff.
eventually. And maybe if this movie would have done better, we would have gotten a sequel set in the future with Christian Bale taking over the military as the leader, John Connor. But this one didn't do well either.
Oh.
And again, it's because it wasn't the best and kind of missed some of the details, So then, they really messed up.
Oh yeah, they made Connor.
So jump the shark is a term that's thrown around a lot,
Called
but I think it does apply to this one, don't you?
Hey!
Yeah, when Fonzie jumped the shark on Happy Days. But I think a lot of times it's said when it's not the truth necessarily, but if you turn John Connor into a Terminator, I think you've jumped the shark. What do you think? So he's the villain of part 5.
Yes.
Really kind of killed the franchise, so they decided to partially reboot it. Yep.
And that's when we get to.
But we do.
So,
Hopefully, if they do make a part 7, we hope they do something in the future.
maybe in the future.
Maybe.
But that's my question.
Maybe since this one's doing so terrible, they'll.
This movie is bombing. Bombing.
Well,
Sadly.
there's no question why they killed.
It's not a bad movie. It's
It's
actually
not.
fun. It's good. It's a good movie.
But they killed.
But it's
the main
bombing.
Character.
It's bombing, and there's a problem too. As you were mentioning, Luke, the first movie's great. It's like a dark, almost like a slasher movie with science fiction. Part 2 is more fun and still every bit as action packed. But part 1 ends with the Terminator, chases them the whole movie. At the very end of the movie, they get to a factory where they have to melt them down. It's the only way they can stop it. Part 2 goes the entire movie with Terminator chasing everybody, and the only way they can stop him is take him to a factory at the end and melt him down.
But then we get to part 3.
Part 3, they
run,
chase him all the way through the movie, and then they put him in a bunker.
and then they get to a bunker.
And let Judgment Day happen.
And then it does like a whole, like...
Or as Luke calls it,
close up to the planet, but like...
explosion.
Shows the explosion.
In space. And all the nukes are coming out of the ground and
everything blows up. But then part 6, they chase them all the way through the movie, and they get into what's basically a factory and destroy them in the factory at the end. So it's very repetitive. Like, I love the Terminator movies, the first 2, obviously, more than the rest. But the ends are, the whole movies are very similar. Come back in time, robot chases you all the way through the movie, you take them to a factory, you destroy them. Even part 3, I know the end's different, but the movie, come back in time, robot chases them all the way through the movie. That kind of gets old. Which is why I really wish part 4 would have been better and done better, because it at least changed the story up a little bit. All this reboot does is take us back to the same old Terminator cliche. Robot comes back in time and chases you the whole movie, go to the factory and destroy him. Right? But at this point, the franchise has just been knocked around.
Sadly.
Part 3 wasn't the best. I think that repetitiveness got old, even though the end changed. I don't think people stuck around for that. I think they got upset with it in general. Part 4, John Connor is kind of a secondary character almost. Part 5,
John Connor's
a bad guy. Part 6, John Connor's dead. So it's like they're just not treating the storyline right. They're not treating the characters right. So the new movie, I liked it, but like we said, it's bombing. So what do you think's next? Will there be another Terminator? Will they reboot it again? Will they partially reboot it and say...
Hey, I think they should make a remake of 1 and change it. Just... Why not?
Remake of...
They've ruined it.
It's been ruined at this point, I think, yeah.
So just remake. I think the first...
I think they should just remake part 3, make it better, then do a part 4,
I think they should just reboot the whole thing and remake part 1.
Because part 1 and 2 were just
And I mean, I want to go back to that, though. I like this movie. I liked it. I love Linda Hamilton. And she was tough as nails. That's my attempt not to say badass in front of y'all, right?
You just said it, though.
I didn't. I covered my mouth. She was awesome. But putting Arnold as not even in the first hour of the movie.
He's not in the last quarter. He's not even in half the movie.
He's in the second half. But putting Arnold, who is the face of the Terminator movies, in only the second half of the movie, I think hurt it. Killing off John Connor, completely changing the mythos, the storyline of the Terminator story was kind of cool that they were trying something different.
That's roadkill.
But I think it messed up. I think that's what messed it up.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator.
So did y'all like?
And dies.
Did y'all like?
He dies at the
He dies
end.
in all of them. He dies in all of them.
I don't care.
So did y'all like the movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Had problems, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, big old question mark on the Terminator. Will he be back?
What's that thing on top of the question mark?
I don't know. It's something from the Photoshop program I used to make it. Ignore. Question mark. So, will he be back?
I don't know.
No. Not too sure.
Probably not. At this point, probably not with Arnold anyway, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Arnold is getting...
We won't.
Terminator won't be back. We will be. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
We'll be back.
You're going to get very loud if you do that, so... we'll be back in 2 weeks. Terminator, probably not. So
Not in 2 weeks.
this is kind of a downer this week's movie, right?
Yeah.
So
Down.
Eli, stand up and dance us out at least. Make it a happy ending.
Wait a second.
No, you have to be in here.